Washington beats Colorado 27-13, Brian, here at Husky Stadium. Colorado really battled. You liked a lot of what you saw, but just missed opportunity after missed opportunity.
Yeah, and against a team like Washington that doesn't give you a whole lot. They actually gave the Buffs a few in this one, but the Buffs couldn't take advantage of them, especially in the fourth quarter. You know, they had the one where they fumbled the ball out of the end zone, CU golden opportunity. Then they have to punt, and then there's a penalty, another golden opportunity, but they're unable to capitalize. So missed opportunities in this game, and you know, kind of like Steven Montez said after the game, also just not executing when they needed to offensively. I mean, they would move the ball, but then not execute third down, fourth down.
A little bit surprising, even with Laviska Shenault and Jay McIntyre out, we thought maybe we'd see a lot more Juwan Winfrey and Kabion Ento, but it was Daniel Arias and Dimitri Stanley, two true freshmen, seeing a lot of action.
Yeah.
Daniel Arias with a long touchdown catch early in the game, and you felt like maybe they were going to start opening things up, but once again, just not able to get anything going offensively.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting with Juwan and Kabion, how the first three passes today were to guys that hadn't had a catch all season. You throw in, I think Chris Bounds was the other one. It's interesting to me that Juwan and Kabion are still not a part of this thing, even with some of those key guys out. But they did get some things going in that first drive with Arias and Dimitri Stanley, but not able to sustain that. And they really only went back to Arias, I think, one other time that I remember, and it was an underthrown ball. So kind of interesting, you know, game plan and kind of what they did offensively today.
Trayvon McMillan was moving the ball pretty well early in the game, and then Washington just completely shut down the running attack. And at that point, especially with the offensive line, again, not playing well today. That last week at USC, only 265 yards of offense today, 259. But I still think it's too early to push the panic button. These are two, I mean, USC's super talented, even though they hadn't played as well defensively as they did against Colorado. But this Washington defense is among the best in the country.
Yeah, it is. And I think everybody at the beginning of the season, when you looked at the schedule, there was two games everybody put down as a loss, and you wrote them in pen. And it was these last two games. Now, I think they had a shot to win both of them because of the way they played so far this season. But these were two that you kind of expected them to lose. You know, and so for them to lose these games, it's not surprising. But you're right. I mean, there's some things offensively they could have done in both games. They didn't get done, but not time to press the panic button yet. There's a lot of football to be played. There's a lot of winnable games coming up.
Defensively, they were so close to getting pressure on Jake Browning in a bunch of cases, and you really saw the moxie. And for, you know, as much flack as he takes as a quarterback, he was really moving around in the pocket well today. And as Mac McIntyre said, we had to start bringing some pressure because when they were bringing four, he had all the time in the world back there.
Yeah, and you know, this is the third time we've seen Browning play against the Buffs. I thought this was the best he's looked. I mean, I wasn't very impressed with him in the Pac-12 championship game 2 years ago, or really last year. I thought this was the best he looked, and maybe statistically not his best game, but you know, I thought he really kept them in it. Did a great job on a day when CU's defense played really well. I thought Browning was the difference today.
Delrick Abrams Jr. was out, and again, Dante Wigley had the pass completed. They're kind of the back-breaking touchdown late in the game. They need to get Abrams back. Yeah,
they really do. And Mike McIntyre mentioned at the end they also lost Chris Miller in this game to an injury, so they didn't have him at the end of the game either. So that's your two best corners that didn't play at the end of this game. And so yeah, they've got to get Abrams back. It was a calf injury sometime this week during practice, but if they don't have those guys, they're in some trouble.
And James Stefano re-injures his groin. Evan Price, give him all the credit in the world for coming in there and knocking down those or making those two field goals. But again, you need to get him back too. This is a really banged up football team at this point.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, you add in the four guys that didn't play in this game, and then you throw in Chris Miller, who got hurt in this game, and yeah, they are banged up. And it's kind of a good thing that Oregon State's the next team. And you know, I mean, Oregon State, I guess any team can win any given Saturday, but it's nice that the last place team in the conference is coming into Boulder next week.
Oregon State blown out at home against a mediocre Cal team. So the silver lining, Colorado fans out there, is that this football team should, if they show up next Saturday and play just decent football, maybe not even that, this should be a bowl-eligible team with really 4 winnable games remaining on the schedule.
Yeah, 4 winnable games. I guess if I look at the schedule, I would predict a 2-2 stretch, which is not bad. If you go 8-4 this season, that's a pretty good season for this team. But certainly 5 winnable games coming up. I was talking to Drew Lewis a little bit walking out of the tunnel, and he said, you know, we're not down. Guys are obviously disappointed, but we've got to keep our heads up, and he feels like guys are. And they know that there's 5 winnable games coming up that they've got to go out and just play well. And if they do, I think they can get any of the 5 or all 5.
All right, we saw some fight from this football team in these back-to-back tough road games. They weren't able to get out a victory, but they head back to Folsom Field to take on Oregon State next Saturday.